This hour is brought to you by Jeremy Temple Law Office of Bloomington. Personal injury, criminal, business, whatever you need, Jeremy Temple Law Office will get you taken care of.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, come on, welcome aboard the Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. Make sure you go to thehoosier.com and get signed up. It's free there. Complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers. Lots to get to today on the program. Michael Lewis, former Hoosier great, now out at UCLA. He'll join us later. Taylor Lehman from thehoosier.com is going to join us. We're going to talk about some college football. I had some college football rule changes, Todd Leary, going into place. We got Gronkowski is back. Herschel Walker says he should be in the Hall of Fame. A lot of football news all of a sudden. UConn president says football sports likely canceled, which I think is a load of crap. And Boise State putting their entire staff on furlough. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Ready for a beautiful day outside.
It is supposed to be spectacular out there. I actually asked for a tea time at Eagle Point here yesterday, and I'm like, nope, sorry, full, packed.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, okay, all righty then. So, it's going to be a busy day out there. So, but that's good, man. It's we need some good days to do something.
People are getting antsy. Anytime the weather's over 60 degrees and sunny, you're going to find most courses full, I think.
Yeah, especially it's the only thing to do right now. I know a lot of places around are talking about reopening things, and hopefully we're going to get to that point. Maybe May 15th, I'm hearing. Who knows? We'll see how it goes, but we'll see. We'll see, hopefully. But lots of stuff to talk about today. Gronkowski, how about Gronk back in football, man? Are you kidding me?
So what's my first reaction to that is that not a smack in the face to Bill Belichick? I mean, what would be the other reason of why he wouldn't play? I mean, they obviously didn't want him to retire, and he just straight up said, I'm done. I'm not playing. And then the second Brady is out of there and they go somewhere else, he signs immediately?
Maybe he talked him into it.
You don't think he would have talked him into it last year? I mean, that was his number one target. I don't know. I took that as okay, yeah, there's something flawed in the system there with the relationship between Belichick and Brady. I think a lot of people understood it probably got a little bit strained in the last few years, but truly any two competitive minds like that are trying to fix a team that is, not that great, in which they've kind of been that way for the last few years. I mean, they're gonna have some differences of opinion, and I think their relationship just got strained. And I don't know. I didn't know Gronk was a part of that, though. I mean, he seemed like he did whatever he wanted.
I think that it's a challenge. I think he was smart when he retired, and he would be smart if he stayed retired. But he just, those guys, they love that challenge, and to be able to go down and to turn a worthless franchise around like that, they could just say, oh, yeah, we were the greatest.
I mean, when you see Brady, who's I think he's 40 or maybe 41 or whatever he is, when you look at that and they talk about him playing for 17 seasons or 19 seasons, and then I read that Gronk retired after 9 seasons and he's only 31. I know it's a different position. I know his body gets beat up differently, but it just seemed like I would have guessed he played 12 or 13 seasons. 9 would not have been the number I would have come up with, and I would have said he was a little bit older than 31. But
yeah, you'd have thought maybe the year off revitalized him. Who knows?
Well, we've seen a lot of tight ends do that. Jason Witten did that at Dallas.
And you're right; they take a beating because they're half a lineman and then half a receiver. It's like they're hitting on everybody, linebackers, linemen. So yeah, it is a beat up position. But yeah, well, it'll be interesting. I hope they lose. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Patriots fans, so I'm not a fan of either Brady or Gronk. So
I'm not we're Colts fans. So I mean, I shouldn't speak for you. I'm a Colts fan. I have zero interest in them winning, except for you're exactly right. It's interesting, and now I want to see if they can go do it somewhere else. I'll watch every Tampa Bay game available when I can assure you, if Tampa Bay's been on the TV in the last 5 years, I did everything. I would have cleaned house before I would have watched that on TV. Like, I cannot stand watching them play.
Josh from Floyd Knobs hit us up on the text line, and you can too, 812-269-6367. If Indiana needs, and we were talking about this yesterday, Todd, if Indiana needs a shot doctor, I've been teaching guys for years on Pat Graham Court. Tell them to call me Josh Floyd Knobs.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, here's the funny issue with that is there are a lot of people that could help with just some pretty easy developmental things that these guys could do to change their shots. The issue is the NCAA. The NCAA just does not allow you can't just go work with the team. It's not allowed anymore. They've set rules up, and they are very strict when it comes to basketball and how many people are allowed to actually coach these kids on the basketball court. And I don't mean in games, I mean in practice. So I know it sounds silly, but Josh, you make a great offer, and I bet they would take you up on it if they weren't so strict on the rules in the NCAA.
Tim also hit the text line, says, do you think Purdue's Harms is good enough to play at the Kentucky? He was just a backup at Purdue. UK recruiting is better than that. Well, they're in kind of a bad position, not a bad position, but he's experienced.
Normal position for them.
Yeah, he's experienced, though, and I think you can get an experienced 7-foot guy, you're going to freaking take him. I don't care who he is.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, that's kind of a cheap shot to say that he is a backup at Purdue, because Purdue kind of had a weird system. I would say he was a half, 50-50 guy with Trevion Williams. I mean, he
kind of like a Race Thompson.
He was just as much. Yeah, he played a lot more than Race Thompson, and was a lot bigger part of the overall thing. The guy is he's just a freak. I mean, how many 7-foot 2 or 3 guys are there in college basketball? I mean, I think there's 2, maybe 3, and he's a different asset than what they could get somewhere else. I'm sure, he would fit in a lot of places. When I saw his final list, it included BYU. I'll be surprised if he's not at Texas Tech or BYU. Kentucky is not a great fit, although he'd be crazy to pass that opportunity up if he gets it. I think, but I think playing time wise and to get the most out of his abilities, I think BYU or Texas Tech would be the place for him to go.
Wow. Yeah, that would.
He narrowed it down to BYU, Texas Tech, and Kentucky. And Chris Beard would figure out a way to use him.
I think Texas Tech would be the spot. I love Chris Beard. I'm not going to lie to you. I think what he's done is just great and continues to do. But yeah, I agree with you. You're, by the way, you have an 11:30 tea time today. Congratulations.
Okay, sweet. Thanks.
Congratulations.
You know what? You are, anytime you say from now on that you can't do 2 things at once, I'm going to disagree with you. You can book me tea times and do the show at the same time. I appreciate it.
Got it rolling, man. Got it rolling. College football, some rule changes coming up in the 2020 season. The NCAA Playing Rules Oversight Panel approved Monday a number of rules changes to be implemented beginning during the 2020 season. The press release Tuesday told us. A time limit on replays is chief. That drives us nuts when they go over there, watch these replays, and they take 5 minutes. They're like, dude, it's obvious. Especially those obvious ones, but they're putting officials will have a 2-minute time limit to make replay reviews, save for the end of game issues, during which the officials are encouraged to be efficient but not have a time limit. Also, remember, I forget what bowl game it was. Kentucky was playing in a bowl game, and their quarterback came out and started a fight with the guy of the other team.
Yeah, before the game. Nothing
can be done because referees did not have jurisdiction beyond 60 minutes prior. This happened like 90 minutes. They've changed it to 90 minutes now. For that was against Virginia Tech, and they're showing a video of it right there with it. So it is the exact reason for that. The post ejection, they get ejected for targeting or whatever they get ejected for. Players who are ejected during games for targeting can remain near the bench area instead of being relegated to the locker room. All other aspects of targeting remain in place. Well, I don't understand the point of that.
Well, I didn't understand the point of making him leave the field either. I mean, it's just that's a weird thing.
Oh, the penalty?
Yeah.
It is. To me, it's excessive because 90% of these are unintentional. They're deemed targeting after they're reviewed. Well, if you got to review it that much, it's obviously not intentional. And that's the problem I have with it. It's not intentional. It's not an intentional act. So to get ejected for a non-intentional act, I don't think it's excessive.
Yeah, and you know, like I didn't really understand the purpose of that part of the rule anyway. I get the ejection from the game, but from the standpoint of not being able to, when they single them out, like what happens every single time that happens to one of those guys, the camera goes directly on that guy. They follow him with some cop or some person in the administration.
Look like the perp walk.
That's exactly the point of that. Like, I don't understand why they go through that process. It puts guys in a position where they really are vulnerable to, you know, giving the crowd the finger, or especially if it's on the road, or saying something stupid because they're emotional. They don't like what just happened. They didn't, and a lot what you said, a lot of it's not intentional. So they're somewhat in shock, and I've never understood why they highlighted that whole. I mean, why don't they just stop the whole stadium and put a spotlight on the guy and walk him all the way out? Like, it didn't make any sense why they did that.
Yeah, that's just a dumb rule. I can't believe, because if it's the second half of a game and you get called for target, you have to sit out the first half of the following game.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. But those are some of the rule changes. Nothing major.
I never thought about this. So in that case, if you sit out the second half of the next game, are you not allowed on the sideline for the first half of that next game?
That's a great question.
Because then you don't understand like what the calls have been and how the flow of the game has been going on.
It's a great question. That is a great question, because by rule you probably should not be, because you're still ejected.
Sure.
So by rule you probably should have to be in the locker room. But I bet you $100 they don't. They sit on.
I'd like for one of our officiating listeners to
Tom, hit us up on that. Tom Medford, he's an official. Tom M, down south, hit us up on that. That's a great one for you to answer, Tom. Yeah, perfect.
I should just start every show out by apologizing to him, just because I've treated officials pretty badly over the years. He should probably. I'm pretty critical of those guys
from
time to time.
He's used to it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? I mean, what are you going to do?
Tough skin.
We're Taylor Lehman from the Hoosier.com is going to join us in the next segment. We'll talk some about those rule changes that are going implemented into next year. I don't see, like I said,
okay. So hold on. So far, all we've talked about is the review time, and those guys can stay on the sideline. Are there any actual rule changes, like in-game changes?
Nothing of consequence, really. I mean, the only other one was duplicate numbers. Only 2 players per team are allowed to wear the same number. Now, I didn't know two guys, more than 2 could wear the same number. The fact they allowed 2 to wear the same number is a little confusing at times, but especially it was last year when Indiana took the names off the back of the jerseys. That was horrible. That was just horrible. When you got 2 9s out there, you don't know if it's Michael Penix or Raekwon Jones or whoever was wearing 9 the year before last. Jonathan Crawford, someone else was wearing 9. I was like, which one is that? Yeah, but nothing of great significance. These are just cosmetic things.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously. The game is so much fun and so good. I know everybody has an opinion about the length of time for the video reviews and all that, and I've never been on the side of making them hurry up. I would much rather it be right than I would, worry about how long it takes. I've seen, they've probably seen 3 or 4 in our lifetimes where it's just a ridiculous amount of time that it took to go do it. But for the most part, I mean, it's not that bad. And every time I hear announcers talk about the fact of, oh my gosh, they're disrupting the flow of the game and all that. You know what? I mean, Ted Valentine's disrupted the flow of the game with foul call for years. Are they going to tell them to stop calling so many fouls? I mean,
fouling people out disrupted the flow of games
for sure. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you've seen us start games out, and there's been 22 foul calls in the first 8 minutes of the game, and you're like, okay, come on.
You look at the NFL; they implemented the rule that they could review pass interference after that debacle in the playoffs. But look what happened. They used it for one whole year, and it was worthless. They overturned like 5% of the reviewed plays, and then now they've done away with it. It's like that didn't work. That's unbelievable to me. That is how they can't even decide what is pass interference.
That was one of the biggest shocks in all of these rule changes or review rules and all of that. When they put that in, I mean, that's like saying they can start reviewing holding and start. I mean, these guys basically pass interfere on every possession at some point, it seems like. And it's just they put referees in a really, really bad position with that one last year. I thought they should have just changed the review to be they can review literally anything in the last 2 minutes. If they think or you could name a time, last 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever they want to make that. Anything that is at the very end of a game, if they think they need to review it, they can review it. And I don't think there should be any guidelines as to what they can't review. If they think something might be wrong in the last couple minutes of a game of any sport, they should be able to review it.
We'll pick up the discussion when we come back. Taylor Neiman's going to join us. We'll talk about some IU football.
You mean just tell me I'm right is what you're going to do.
There you go.
Back. Just say, yeah, you're right, Todd.
That's it. We can tell Todd he's right.
Tell Todd he's right. Segment 2. Tell Todd he's right.
Yeah, here at the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals, coming back with all that and more right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Ryan Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Hey, it's Michael Lewis, former Indiana University player and current UCLA assistant basketball coach, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat.
Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. Make sure you go to thehoosier.com, get signed up for complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers. And if you're hungry, make sure you reach out to Eagle Point Pub. They've got takeout available. One-topping pizzas, $10.99. You got double butter burgers, fries, $7.99. Whatever you need, man, they got there. So you can get that at
good.
You can get that at the Turn when you're playing golf today, Todd.
Oh, I don't eat what I'm playing.
Taylor Lehman from thehoosier.com joining us now. Taylor, how are you, brother?
I'm good. How are you doing, Jim?
Cannot complain. Todd and Larry along with us. We've been talking about there's some rule changes, of course, for college football that came out. Nothing significant that I saw that really warrants a lot of discussion. I guess the replay is the biggest thing, is trying to speed that aspect of that up.
Yeah, just trying to speed up the pace of play. And also, I mean, I think if I'm right here, I think it's the first time limit that's been placed on replay reviews in football. So I think that's kind of what makes it stand out so much. We'll see how it works. How the 2-minute time limit is really enforced, and also at the end of game situations, there's no time limit. So what is the what's the cutoff as far as on the clock? Like, how late into games are they going to stop taking, or are they going to start taking off that time limit and letting them just be as efficient as they can be? I think there's still a lot of unanswered questions surrounding that rule.
The one thing me and Todd were talking about that I've always had an issue with is that on the targeting rule, when they disqualify a player, they had to kick him out. We were just talking that they perp walk them to the locker room, and they don't have to do that now. They can stay at the bench. But I still think that the ejection for targeting is just excessive, especially if these are not intentional acts. And I just have such a problem with the guys getting ejected for parts of two different games a lot of times for an unintentional act.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. And I saw a lot of that too. And in reaction to these rules is, I think it's probably the second talking point coming out of these rule changes. The fact that they didn't make any other changes to the targeting rule other than the fact that the guys can stay on the sidelines after they're ejected. I think there are a lot more concerns with the targeting rule than whether the players were on the field or not after they got ejected. But yeah, I think, you can definitely lighten up the punishment, or even kind of make the rules a little more relaxed too, because I think sometimes, even though it's all kind of subjective anyway, I think changing the requirements or prerequisites for what a targeting penalty looks like, I think that was maybe even more important than deciding where the players go after they're ejected.
I just got to thinking, Todd, in college basketball, I know we have the flagrant 1 and 2, and the flagrant, is it the flagrant 2? It's an automatic ejection. Does that come with is that the same thing?
You can't be on the bench. No.
I meant, but do you say it's in the second half? You get a flagrant. You don't get ejected for the first half of the next game, do you, Taylor?
No.
So why? And that's an intentional act to me. When a flagrant foul, to me, is
how many? So I can't remember which one it is either. But let's say it is the flagrant 2. How many flagrant 2s did you see all year long?
Not a lot.
My answer is 0. I don't think I saw one all year long.
But my point being is, to me, that's the same thing, kind of, except for this is more of an intentional act, Taylor, and yet it does not carry the same ramifications of punishment.
I think that's probably directly connected to trying to take a stand on the violence in the game. I think,
Sure.
Obviously you have the CTE stuff and things like that. I think football in general is just trying to make the game safer, even though at its core, it's a very violent game. So you can only do so much, but I think it's more of a statement versus actually trying to implement something that's, actually helping the players in the game. I don't think the targeting call necessarily helps all that much.
Not a lot going on as far as commitments and offers recently. I think there's been a couple offers more go out since we've spoken. I've seen. I don't think I've seen any commitments here in the last week or so for IU.
No, and IU's focus for recruiting right now is definitely the 2021 class, but they're also trying to round out the 2020 class. They're still in the market for a transfer running back and transfer tackle, and tackle. I think the most traction they have is with KJ Wilson out of Hampton. But other than that, it is kind of slow right now because I don't think transfers really know what to do, because they were supposed to go on visits last month and into this month, and all of that's kind of, gone by the wayside. So it's tougher. I think it's really tough for transfers, 'cause they're gonna have to make decisions without visiting schools, and that's kind of an uncomfortable position to be in. But the 2021 class is the one right now that's demanding all this attention. Honestly, it's kind of leaving the front end of the 2022 class kind of neglected because you can't do the things that you typically could do at this point in the recruiting calendar.
Yeah, and we're talking about all this stuff, all the rules changes and all, and then we're hoping that we're going to have a season, which I'll be honest with you, I'll be completely shocked if that doesn't happen. But you've got people like the UConn president coming out and saying fall sports are likely going to be canceled. And I think that's irresponsible to make a statement like that, but it's very possibly going to be different at the very least.
Yeah, that was a mess. The whole Connecticut president thing was a mess. He was talking to a journalism class and he was asked about it. He was asked directly about it, and I think I mean, I don't know. This is just me reading between the lines, but I think it was a president who didn't necessarily, or maybe for a moment, let it slip that he wasn't. Maybe thought that he wasn't on the record. He was talking to a group of students. Candidly, probably thought the conversation was more private. But when you're talking to a group of journalism students, they're more than likely going to tweet the things you say, and so
immediately.
Then, yeah, right, exactly. And then the spokesperson from Connecticut came out and didn't really add anything else to the statement because you can't really take it back at that point. So he said what he meant clearly. He's like the first athletic director, I believe, that's the first official that came out and said that there probably won't be a fall season, and that's that's really that's really far ahead. But you have Oktoberfest just got canceled in September, at the end of September. So there are a lot of things that are leading toward maybe not having a fall season, but I don't know how they're going to counter it. A lot of people are saying maybe push the season back, but
it's pretty important to bring up the fact that school doesn't have football either. I mean, his canceling of fall sports is a lot different than
I was going to say, it doesn't matter
any other school across the country that has a football program. I mean, that's a lot different of what you're canceling.
Yeah, I think
haven't had the presidents of Alabama come out and say that. I promise.
Yeah, you will not hear that come out of any SEC president's mouth right now.
Yeah, I think presidents and athletic directors are more willing to tread lightly on that subject than Connecticut. Yeah. Also, it kind of brings up the question, are all programs treated equally? Is it going to be one of those things where the closer it gets, the more that programs, say like Ohio State or Penn State or Alabama, are going to push back on the idea of canceling a fall season? I'm sure that'll be the case, but how does that all go down? So yeah, there are still a ton of questions in that regard, because football is huge.
Yeah, and like I said, in the places, obviously, UConn, it's not huge. It's not a moneymaker. In some of these places, it is their sole moneymaker. So it's going to be different for different programs, obviously. Anything else happening in the world of college football? We were talking about Gronkowski earlier, Taylor, and his apparent return to the NFL with Tom Brady at Tampa Bay. Kind of funny.
Yeah. Of all the things that could have happened, that was not one that I was expecting. But it's Bill Belichick doing what he does. He took a retired player, traded him to Tampa Bay for a 4th round pick. Like he turned something he already didn't have into a 4th round pick. It's just he keeps making these chess moves, man. Who knows what he's going to turn that 4th round pick into?
Yeah, that's the master move. I mean, he got something out of nothing. That is amazing. You're right. It's something. Also, Herschel Walker, you're a Southern guy. Herschel Walker said that he should be in the Hall of Fame. He's been eligible since 2003, and he hasn't been close to making it there.
Yeah. When you think of that position, you kind of think of Herschel Walker, and I can't yet. He's one of those where I can't.
The
I can't believe
NFL Hall
he's
of Fame?
kind of not.
Yeah.
What's that?
You're talking about the NFL Hall of Fame? I mean,
Yeah.
college football, yeah, I'd be like, there's just no doubt, obviously. But I mean, the NFL, I mean, was he that great?
Apparently he's on the line because they haven't put him in yet. And he's been eligible since 2003. So apparently a lot of people are thinking the same thing.
I think he was kind of up and down. He was on a lot of teams. But yeah, I guess it's separating, him as a college running back and him as a pro running back can be tough to do sometimes. But I mean, he only had 2 seasons of 1,000 yards. So, he did have kind of an underwhelming career, even though it lasted so long. I mean, it was over a decade and
13 years, I think.
Yeah,
I think. Plus, though, if he would have stayed on Dallas, I think that no doubt he would have been in. But when he got traded away, and then Dallas rises to prominence after that, it kind of unfairly put a little stain on him. But you talk about getting something for nothing. My God, Dallas built an entire Super Bowl winning franchise off of that trade.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's it's tough. It was tough for him too because Dallas is where he stayed the longest. But I mean, he didn't stay in any place longer than 3 years, and then the handful of games that he stayed with Dallas after that 3rd year. But yeah, no, that's a tough call, and I think you would definitely, if he got into the Hall of Fame, I think a lot of it would be contributed to him as a college running back too. Because yeah, you're right. His career was fairly underwhelming in that regard. But he was also, I mean, in the 80s and 90s, running backs weren't necessarily all that involved in the passing game. I was born in 95, so I didn't watch a lot of football in the 80s. But he caught a lot of balls. I mean, he caught a lot of passes on the backfield.
You're right, a lot. Taylor, I appreciate you joining. What do you got coming up that the people need to read at thehoosier.com?
Honestly, I'm gonna start a series either today or tomorrow where I'm looking at every recruiting class of the 2010 decade. So starting with 2011 when Kevin Wilson got here, and then just kind of look at everyone after that and see kind of how they contributed to the buildup of the Indiana football program. That's kind of what I'm most excited about this week. Working on a couple other bigger things too, but mostly, I just mentioned KJ Wilson. He's expecting to make a decision by the end of this month, so that'll be coming sometime in the next, 8 or so days. So, just kind of staying tuned there and check out those recruiting pieces.
Make sure you give him a follow on Twitter, Taylor Lehman, and make sure you go to thehoosier.com and get signed up if you're not. Great coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers. Taylor, I cannot thank you enough, brother, as always.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jim. Yeah, have a good one, guys.
See you, bud.
You betcha. Taylor Lehman joining us from thehoosier.com here on Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary. Yeah, that Herschel Walker thing, I couldn't care less. But the fact that he's been eligible since 2003, and it's like, geez, that's 17 years, man. If you haven't gotten in by now, you're on one of those. You're really people just see you as the fence, and I'm like. But
and anytime you start your own campaign as to why you should be in the Hall of Fame, I mean, that just that taints it, in my opinion, a little bit.
Hey, if you're hungry today, make sure you hit up the Eagle Point Pub. You can do so at eaglepointpub.com. They've got food and all kinds of stuff. You can get beef, steaks, powder, or eggs. They've got rubber gloves, PPE equipment.
They've got a market. Yeah, they've got a little market. We don't have to leave this community. We can just go up there and go to the store.
Wednesday and through Friday, open 3 to 7. Saturday through Sunday, noon till 7. So hit it up. There's eaglepointpub.com, whatever you need if you're in the Bloomington area. We got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat to talk about. Boise State furloughed their whole team, man. Their whole coaching staff, rather. But these guys are also school? No, I think this was about football. But, I don't want to not feel sorry about somebody, but they get paid plenty. So, I mean, these guys are all making fat 6-digit checks. So we got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. We're coming to you, of course, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. Back with more after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway.
Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic. Safe. Effective. Even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Hey, this is Jordan Halls, former Indiana Hoosier. Keep up with Indiana sports on Indiana Sports Beat.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Wednesday. It's hump day, man. We've made it to the middle.
The hump of what? The middle of what?
Well, you know, that's
middle
a great point.
Middle of a bunch of days together?
That is the greatest point. There is no middle anymore, is there? You can't even say that.
Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, none of them.
Doesn't matter.
Nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can't tell what day is what. At least it's going to be nice today. It's going to be an incredible day outside. Beautiful. So I hope everybody can get outside and do something. I know that I know what Todd's going to be doing. So hopefully you can get outside and you can't go shoot basketball anywhere, unfortunately. But you know, I think that would be a great thing for people to be able to do by themselves. I talked about that yesterday, but you can't.
Well, if you've got your own goal, you can.
Yeah, and I know where some are. I've seen some. Not going to say where they are. Keep that secret so they don't come take those down.
A lot of the schools and parks have them blocked off, but a lot of the
private places.
Right? Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of places to go play.
Yeah. Michael Lewis is going to join us in the next segment. Former Hoosier great, now out at the UCLA. Looking forward to talking to Michael. It's been a while, man. They had a hell of a run this year, Todd. Mick Cronin went out there and they were not doing well when they arrived. And boy, it didn't take them long to turn that around.
Oh my gosh, it was unbelievable. I mean, they were a train wreck halfway through the season. I mean, they were, I should say, like a third of the way through the season. They stunk. And boy, you talk about turning it around. They
ended up a number 2 seed in the Pac-12 tournament.
That's why you look at that. And hey, I'm a Shaquille O'Neal fan. I've always rooted for him, except for when we played against him. But I just like him. I think he's a good person and all that. But that's why when we reported the fact that his son transferred from UCLA to LSU, you're like, well, wait a minute. If I look at those two programs right now, I think the cleaner, better program is UCLA. So the fact that he's leaving there and going to LSU, which we know is not clean or doing things right, it just that's a little bit surprising to me.
Did you see Cody Zeller put a tweet out yesterday, reliving his glory days? It was actually incredibly funny. He was in grade school or whatever. He did a talent show with a jump rope to a Shania Twain song. And the greatest thing is if you pull that up, he does it again. He reenacts it live now.
No way.
He said, now, obviously, a 27-year-old jumping rope to Shania Twain is not quite as cute, although it's a
little creepier than it was as a kid.
So, I mean, that's pretty funny. I mean, that shows you he doesn't take himself too serious.
Is he at home here in Indiana now, or is he
probably down in Washington just hanging out? Can you imagine those 3 guys down there in Washington together right now?
I hope their house is bigger than what it was a long time ago, because you put all those 7-footers in there, that would dwarf that house in a heartbeat.
You want to talk about getting some pickup games down in Washington?
You want to talk about spending some money at the grocery store? Try feeding that whole family.
I think they can afford it. They got.
I agree, but man,
yeah, but you're right, man. Can you? I wouldn't want to cook for them. I can tell you that.
No kidding.
That would take up the entire day. Oh man, Indiana basketball. We talked yesterday. I know I saw a piece Alec Lasley talking about Al Durham, what he needs to do. That's a guy we haven't talked a lot about, Todd, because we talked about all the new guys coming in and talked about Rob Finney with Christian Lander coming in. But Al Durham is a guy that we haven't talked about much, but he's going to be a cog. He's going to be a senior. I mean, he's going to be a guy that you're going to expect to be a leader. But of course, we keep saying that. We didn't see any leadership last year from anybody. But something that you just naturally expect from seniors.
Yeah, and here's just my opinion of it. You've got him and Justin Smith as 4th-year seniors, and the leadership that happens on the floor. There's different kinds of leadership, and what those guys are going to provide to this group of incoming freshmen that has a ton of expectations, and people are looking for them to contribute right away. I mean, the leadership is going to be like in a normal year would be what these guys do once they arrive on campus. What Al Durham does. I mean, I would say Al's leadership is probably going to be more on the front burner than even Justin's, just simply because of the type of players that are coming in. And they're all guards. Al's going to be expected. And this is just kind of an unwritten rule, but it is the way it is. And has always been this way is, the older players kind of, take these guys under their wing and they kind of show them the ropes. They tell them what to expect. They tell them what things are going to be like. And Al's going to be doing this for guys who are going to be competing for minutes that are his. And so it's kind of a catch-22 situation, but that's part of the love of the university and the will to want to win as a team. And that's where I love the fact that this is Al Durham, because I think Al Durham will put Indiana University first and want the team to win. And I think Al's role on this team is going to be much, much bigger than just the minutes he plays on the floor coming up for this next season.
And you talk about these young guys coming up. There's a responsibility of these upperclassmen to impart upon these new guys the way of the world at wherever, if it's at Indiana, the way of the world at Indiana, which is the case that we're talking about here. I mean, they have to learn this is college basketball. It's a different deal from high school. You can almost forget about everything you learned. Not really, but you know what I'm saying? This is a completely different beast.
Yeah. And there is no question, guys, all adjust to the college game at different speeds and at different levels. And a lot of it has to do with, your AAU coach or your high school coach. A lot of it has to do with what training you've had prior to coming there. A lot of it has to do with your family bring up. Just how all the different factors go into it, and so everybody kind of adjusts differently. And I think these guys coming in all are in a pretty good position to come in and learn right away. But I'll be the first one to tell you, and I'll tell you, every single guy that I played with came into IU, thinking that they knew almost everything. And I mean, that's just the way players are. And the guys who accept the fact that you got a lot to learn the fastest are the ones who adjust the quickest. And the college game is a different game than high school or AAU. And there are a lot of you've won a lot of games in the last 4 years as a player because just simply of your abilities. And you don't win near as many games or have near as good opportunity to win when you get to college just off your abilities. It's a thinking man's game.
Can you remember coming in as a freshman and then remember being a senior with the new freshman coming in, and the differences between?
I can, but the real differences were and I don't think you would get an argument out of guys like this, but Steve Hart and Sharon Wilkerson and I can't remember the other kid's name. He was from I think he's from California or something. Rob Foster were the freshmen who came in when I was a senior, and I love Sharon, but Sharon was easily the best of those guys, but those guys were idiots. I mean, they came in. You think guys came in thinking they knew everything. We thought we knew everything, but
by idiots you mean typical young.
They were
same idiot that I was at 18 or 19.
We're going to walk in here and we're going to change IU basketball. Basketball wise, they were idiots. I mean, they did not have a clue, and they weren't there to learn. They were there to impose their will on everybody else. And when I got there, I mean, I had Jamal Meeks smack me in the mouth, and I had Mark Robinson, elbow me in the face and knock me on the ground. I mean, I had guys that they were there to teach us a lesson. And when Steve Hart and Sharon and Rob Foster came in, I mean, they gave themselves nicknames. I mean, I remember Steve Hart and Rob Foster nicknaming themselves Razzle and Dazzle. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is a train wreck just waiting to happen. And it took them a while. Look, those guys, barring the injury, Sharon would have been a great guard at Indiana University. And I'm not saying he wasn't. I mean, he would have had a much better career. I mean, he got his head on straight after a little while. But boy, let me tell you, when those guys came in as freshmen, they were not like this incoming group of freshmen coming into IU right now. These guys kind of have a little bit of common sense. Those guys had none.
And Sharon continues to get his head on straight, doing a great job down in Madison now as a coach down in Madison High School. Congratulations to him.
Look, we'll all admit, like once you get to be 40-some years old, like you realize how stupid a lot of decisions you made were back when you were younger.
I say it every day.
I think most people do, but those guys were on a different level. they were flat nuts.
Yeah, athletics has a tendency to do that to us all. But
look at it. You take a bunch of guys who already are supremely confident, me included, but Calbert Cheney, I mean, Pat Graham, Greg Graham, I mean, we all were supremely confident. And then you send us to IU where everybody just kisses your butt all the time and tells you how great you are. I don't mean coaching staff. I mean all the fan base and students and everybody else in the world. And then you realize pretty quickly, like, you don't have a clue. Like, you don't know what's going on. You're a moron. And it's a slap in the face. Trust me.
The Washington Post reported that the NCAA prepared for a catastrophic event for cancellation and saved money for that, but apparently they spent it all in 2015.
Well, but think about it. Even if they had, they could prepare for a catastrophic event. Nobody, if anyone was prepared for this, I don't know. They've been preparing for D-Day for a long time.
Well, they did prepare for it, but then they spent the money.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know that they prepared for this level of it. I mean, look,
$400 million.
3 months ago, we would have sat around and said there isn't anything that could possibly happen. A World War III would have to break out before all sports all over the world are canceled.
No, I get that. They were just talking about this was for just a cancellation of in the event of the tournament was getting canceled for whatever reason. They were prepared. They had like $400 million extra dollars, which had you add that to the money that they did send out would equal the normal amount that they would have sent out to schools.
Right,
so they would have been prepared. But I guess
what they do give themselves bonuses.
You know what? I hope that wasn't the case, but I haven't dug through the article.
Would it shock you? Would it shock you?
Nope. But $400 million, that's a lot of money to spend. It built up savings of nearly $500 million at one point. Then in 2015, the new NCAA leadership decided to spend more than $400 million of those savings without increasing the NCAA's insurance coverage, following a questionable theory about the risk of saving that much money.
Yeah.
So there you go. They had it.
Well, in 2015, we would have probably said that's idiotic to add $500 million.
I agree.
In there for something like that.
I said, yeah, I would have said, give it to me. You're not going to use it. It's just sitting there going to waste. Yeah, I agree. But that's the difference between, I guess, being a smart person, I guess, right?
Among other differences, yes.
Exactly. Looking forward to Michael Lewis joining us on the next segment. Michael's a golfer too, man. I wish he was back here. He's out in California though, but he'd certainly be up to date for playing.
Wonder if he plays left-handed or right-handed.
Ooh, great question.
Because a lot of left-handed basketball players play golf right-handed.
Right? Yeah, because that's one of the sports. It's not affected as much, but there's a lot of sports that are affected if you're left-handed. Not all of them.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I don't know why guys do that because, I don't know if it's just because it looks that much different. I'm not sure. But, I mean, look, left-handed guys' jump shots look better. They just look smoother. I mean, and so I don't understand.
In tennis, it's an advantage.
Golf is the same way. They just look smoother when they're swinging. But I don't know. Most people don't do it. And Brian Evans' dad was a golf pro, and he trained him. I always said if you take anyone in the world and make them play both right-handed and left-handed and take their score, I think Brian would probably shoot one of the lower scores in the world because he can play both right and left-handed.
Why is right-handed the dominant thing? Why is it not 50-50?
I don't know. I always wanted to be left-handed. I did that thing as a kid growing up where, I basically tied my right arm to my side and dribbled a ball and drank Coke and ate my food, cut my food, tried to do everything left-handed, and it didn't work.
I did that my first semester at IU when I transferred up to IU, but that was because I had fallen down a flight of stairs and shattered my left wrist or my right wrist, and I had to learn how to shave left-handed, had to learn how to throw darts left-handed. It was
because you did a lot of throwing darts. You had to learn how to throw darts left-handed.
There was nothing else to do when
dart league you were in or something.
It was like one of the only things you could do to have fun back then. But hey, we got a lot more coming up here on the program.
Did you live in 1927? That was the only fun thing to do, to throw darts?
At school, at school in the wintertime, it was winter. You're right.
Hold on a minute.
My hand's in a cast. I meant as far as participating.
You're from Floyd Grand.
I'm talking about participant sports. There was not a lot I could do in January with a broken right hand.
Did you do that after Little House on the Prairie was on?
Exactly.
What in the world?
Yeah, we all gathered around the family supper and watched the shows. And
we had to throw darts left-handed. Would have never been something that would.
It was with the five guys I lived with, man, over on Dunn Street. But yeah, I was the man. I couldn't give
up.
What
was it like at that 1940 national championship game? What was that? What was the atmosphere like?
It was stoic. A lot of cigarette smoke. You
could see it in the top of you could see it in the building.
You can cut through it like with a knife and take a chunk of it out and move it out of the way. Can you imagine playing in gyms or did you play in gyms like that overseas?
In Europe, when I played in France, my coach would smoke on the bench. And the entire there'd be 2,000 people at the game. It looked exactly like what you see in those old field house pictures where there's like a ton of smoke at the top of the arena. It looked just like that, only it was a little bit smaller.
Any players smoking on the bench? Please tell me.
Not on the bench, but they would smoke right after the game in the locker room.
Yeah,
drink Heineken and smoke cigarettes with two things I don't do either one of. And I mean, they were so mad at me. I'll tell you, my coach literally wanted to fine me when I was over there because I would drink Coca-Cola after the game, and he acted like that was the worst thing you could ever do. And he was mad at me because I wouldn't drink Heineken's because it was our sponsor.
I was going to say, were they a sponsor?
Yeah, they were a sponsor. I'm like, look, I put some water in there and I'll drink it. I'm not drinking beer. Like I
you should have poured your Coke in the Heineken bottle.
I just wanted to argue. At that point, I was the smartest person in the world. So
yeah,
I just wanted to argue with him.
Tim hit us up on the text line. Says, here's a new drinker mask. He sent a picture of it. It's a mask made out of denim with a fly.
Oh my gosh.
That's freaking.
Tim's got a lot of time on his hands.
I'm telling you. Hey, we got a lot of show coming up. Michael Lewis is going to join us next, the former Hoosier, now out at UCLA. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Coy O'Leary. We're coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals. And we're back with more right after this.
Don't look now, but I lost my shirt. I can't run and I can't kick. What's the matter, babe? I feel it sick. What's the matter, what's the matter, what's the matter? What's the matter, babe?
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle Leary, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, powered by Rivals here on this Wednesday. Joined now by one of our favorites, Michael Lewis. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're getting along. I understand that there's a little shaking going on out there. Michael's out on the West Coast, of course. So you guys have a little shaker this morning?
That would be news to me. I don't know. I must have slept right through it.
Well, they said it was at 12:03 last night. They said it had a 3.7 level earthquake out there. I mean, you just shake those off now. Don't even worry about it, huh?
Yeah, once you experience one of those, those aren't any big deal, especially one just that low. No, I had no idea about that. I did. I guess we slept right through it. We got into a big binge watch of some Ozark last night and must have slept right through it.
It's one of I love that show, Ozark. I watched. I couldn't wait for the season 3 to get out, but unfortunately, within 8 hours, I was done. So now I got to wait a whole nother year for it to come back out. But I love that show. But
don't give any. We're not that far into it yet. So
no spoilers. No
any
spoilers.
Surprises.
You're going to love it. It's awesome. Yeah, it's a great show. Great. So that's one of the things I was going to ask. How are you spending your time now? Of course, you get to spend a lot more. And this is one of the great things with the guys in sports. They're getting to do things that they just would not get to do. And that's spend time with the family. That is crazy, the amount of time. So I know you're extraordinarily appreciative for that.
No, it's been good. I mean, obviously, this is a challenge for everybody. And you try to find the silver lining in all of it, and in getting to spend a lot of time, whether it's by choice or by force, to spend some time here with my family. But it's been good. The one thing I realized very quickly with this internet learning is I remember 3rd and 6th grade being a lot easier the first time I took it than going through and trying to help my kids with it the second time. So that's been a pretty big challenge.
Well, Todd, you've got 3. You went through that 3 times. Help the man out.
Yeah, no, you know what? I was one of those people that I tried to do the tough love thing, like I was being the tough dad, like, hey, learn it on your own. But it's really just because I didn't know the answer to it. So I get what you're saying, but
I've adapted to the roles. I'm I kind of help and get up and get some breakfast going and kind of help get started. My wife does a lot of that stuff, and then my biggest role was being the cafeteria guy and making sure we've got a lunch provided. So that's been pretty good. We've had a lot of chicken nuggets around here.
I'm a hell of a lunch lady. I can tell you that. I can whip up something out of nothing. I made up some dishes that don't even exist. Right?
You can't cook. You go out to eat every night.
Hey, I make some prison casseroles in here that are to die for.
I don't do dishes. I outsource that out. I do not do dishes at all.
That's what the kids are for. You said you got a 6th grader. That's what the kids are for, man.
Yeah.
Michael, we talked about the UCLA program last year. Todd, we amazed that when you guys got there, it was kind of not in great shape. But boy, by the time your all season ended, man, you guys were heading in a going number 1 with a rocket.
Well, it was a really cool experience to kind of watch all that unfold, and I think when you take over any type of program, there's going to be some changes and some things that you want to do differently. And, we started off, we were 8 and 9 and, things weren't looking good. And I think the thing that I learned most from a coach and watching, Coach Cronin handle everything was he was absolutely, relentless and did not compromise, his culture, his way about going about things, what he wanted done, how he wanted us to play, how he wanted us to look, act, the whole deal. He did not compromise one bit to try to win a game or two. He was setting a way of doing things, a standard of how he wanted things done to win 20 games, whether that was this year or in the future. And it just happened a little bit quicker than I think everybody anticipated. And we put ourselves to be in the NCAA tournament and played for a Pac-12 championship on the last day of the regular season. And to, come in and Nick's big thing is, these aren't somebody else's players. These are UCLA's players. These are our players. And we have to do whatever we can to try to help these guys be as successful as possible and enjoy their college experience the way that that everybody else that gets coached has. And just the relentlessness, like I talked about, of him not compromising. And then you got to give the guys on the team a lot of credit for. There was a ton of individual development, a ton of growth, both individually and then obviously as a team, to put ourselves in a position to be where we were there at the end of the season. So from a coaching perspective, it was a great learning experience on setting a tone in year one of a program.
Well, I mean, it's very difficult. I think it's insanely difficult to take a program like what you had and from one season to the next, have a dramatic improvement. I don't know very often. I can't even think back to the last time there was a team in a situation where a new coaching staff came in and in mid-season was able to turn things around. I mean, you're talking 17 games into the year, and I'm not trying to just blow smoke at you. I mean, it was – I watched the team play early in the season, and then I watched them at the end of the year, and it did not even look like – the effort level was completely different. The way that they executed on offense was totally different. Like I was in shock at how much different the team looked like. And you guys did that in mid-season, which is something that just doesn't hardly ever happen. And I don't think there's any doubt that the college basketball experts and people that keep track of it a bunch will have an eye, not just a glance. They'll have an eye on what UCLA looks like to start the year out next year, just simply because of what you guys were able to accomplish in that last half of this. I mean, January and February were incredible for you guys. Yeah, so, everybody's going to be watching UCLA when it comes. Hey, I'm going to take all that compliment and I'm going to say to you, I really feel sorry for you, because the fact that you have to deal with Bill Walton on a regular basis just means whatever you get paid should get doubled, because no one should have to endure that human being.
We have different opinions on Bill Walton here on the show, Michael. I love his work. I think he's hilarious.
He's the worst.
He's a great bro, and he loves UCLA, and I appreciate what you said there, Todd. Like I said, it was great to be a part of and to watch that. And that stuff doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen unless the leader of your program is the way that Mick was. Like, he was not giving in. He was not going to let up on these guys. He has a great relationship with them on and off the court. But the way that he is on the court and what he wants, he absolutely demands it. And if you don't want to do it that way, this is how we're going to do it. And if you don't want to be a part of it, that's fine. Go somewhere else. But this is what UCLA is going to look like. That's what the transfer portal is for. If you don't want to guard, sit down. If you want to take bad shots, sit down. And that's where we were early in the year. And guys improved. Guys began to understand what Mick was looking for. They understood. They eventually saw that led to winning. And we've got a team that is completely bought in. We just had the one transfer during the middle of the season, which was somewhat expected. And we've been able to add 3 recruits. Recruiting is going well. We added McDonald's All-American. We added a transfer, Johnny Juzang from Kentucky, who really should have just been a senior in high school right now, who probably would have been a McDonald's All-American. That jump, skipping a year of high school and jumping up is really difficult. And then we've added a very athletic, tough, defensive-minded, top 60, 75 wing from right outside of here, Los Angeles. So we're happy with where we are right now, not where we eventually want to end up. But things are going well. It's going a little bit quicker than people have expected. But as everybody knows in college basketball, like Todd said, everybody's going to be looking at us, with what happened. I'm sure the expectations here at UCLA are to win championships, and we hope to someday get the Bruins back there.
Yeah, you last year you did this miracle modern work job of art there, but no pressure on you guys. Now, with all the things that you just said, all the pressure is going to be on you guys next year to win.
Yeah, I think when you're at a place like UCLA that has the history and the tradition, that's always there. Those expectations are always there. Sometimes they're a little bit more tempered than others, but I think we probably ripped that Band-Aid off this past season. The fans were great. They came out and supported us there late in the year, and people were excited. We had it's kind of interesting. Pauley Pavilion kind of became Staples Center East. The last couple of weeks of the season, we were having movie stars and celebrities and former players were coming back. It was pretty cool to be a part of.
Who's the coolest person you've met that you're like on? Okay, wow, this is kind of a weird moment for me.
If you say Bill,
I've enjoyed just meeting the former players. Some of those guys have been really cool. But had dinner one night up here in Calabasas, and a couple of the Shark Tank guys walked in. It wasn't Mark, but a couple of his colleagues from Shark Tank walked in and sat down. I was like, I think I recognize those guys. And my 6th grade daughter hit me. It's like, Dad, those are the guys from Shark Tank. So I'm not real good at recognizing some of those people off screen and things like that. But it's definitely a different lifestyle out here, and a pretty cool experience for my family and I to be a part of right now.
And it's kind of funny, though, because you're on TV more than those guys are at that point, probably. And, like, if it was my daughter, it's the same thing. It's like, who cares? It's like there's a Shark Tank guys. But, of course, you're on TV every week. You're at one of the most high-profile programs in the history of sports. It's just funny how kids see things.
Yeah, the one thing that did throw me off is right when I got out here, one of the other assistants, Darren Savino, and I were walking to dinner. We were staying in a hotel in Westwood, right by campus, and we were walking to dinner to grab something to eat. And there was a movie premiere going on at one of the theaters down there, and it was when Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston's movie was opening. When their latest movie that they made was opening, and we saw her from across the street, and so that's probably been the biggest thing. Like, oh, that's Jennifer Aniston, and like you wondered why everybody was taking pictures and going crazy. It wasn't for Savino and I.
Happens every day. Another thing that's pretty cool, Michael, obviously the IU, your big relationship there, but now at UCLA, 2 of the premier programs in all of sports, and especially college basketball, but sports period. That's got to be cool to have relationships at 2 of the marquee places in the sport of your choice.
Yeah, I've been really, really lucky. It's just, growing up where I grew up, and Todd knows this, like there wasn't anywhere else to play at that time than where we played when that opportunity was given to us. And for me to grow up in Southern Indiana to play at IU for Coach Knight and to be a part of that, and then to get into coaching, coach under Coach Knight, and then work my way back to now I'm coaching at UCLA. Like trust me, I get it. I wake up every day like I'm standing out here on my patio in my backyard right now. I realize how lucky I am, and you just try to, I think in this business or any business, you try to be as prepared as you can when opportunities arise, and when those opportunities arise, you try to take advantage of them. And I've been very fortunate in my career and excited to be here.
And you guys have done a great job recruiting, like we talked about, the season coming up. And I jokingly mentioned that the pressure is going to be on you guys next year. What are your all's own expectations with the talent you have brought in after the success you guys had this past season?
Well, I mean, you go back to all the things I talked about earlier, but the number one thing in this business and what we're all judged on, regardless of what anybody wants to say, is you got to find a way to win the game. And you can do all of this fluff and all these different things, but there comes a time that you got to step in the ring. And it's the old Mike Tyson. Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth, and how are you going to react to that? And you got to find a way to win the game. And it doesn't have to be pretty. You don't have to score 100 points. Like it's, one game you can score 90 and find a way to win. One game you score 52 and find a way to win. But you've got to have a team that's built and ultimately has the character within them that regardless of the situation, you're going to find a way to get the job done. So, we feel like we're beginning to build that toughness and that character within our guys. Our guys are starting to understand, what it takes to win. During the second half of the season, we won in a lot of different ways. We went on the road. We won at home. We did a lot of really good things. And these guys are starting to believe in that. And what I'm excited to see from a coaching standpoint is now when these three three new guys come in, is it going to be more player led or more coach led? You know, if we start getting the program to be more player led than coach driven, then we're really starting to build something.
I know it's tough right now with what's going on, but you think you're going to get back to be able to visit back to Jasper, get back to Indiana anytime this summer?
You know, I would love to. I hope to. You know, right now, I want to be able to get back to going to work, you know, and I think, you know, I think when you're put in these type of situations, you realize, you know, you kind of reorganize things in your life and really what's most important. And I think right now it's just, you know, everybody, you know, doing what they got to do to stay safe and playing their small role in trying to help us find a way to operate with this virus. And right now that's just kind of staying at home and keeping to yourself and doing the things that we're told to do. And hopefully that'll be enough. And people a lot smarter than the three of us will find a way to fight this virus and come up with a vaccine where we can get out and be moving freely and doing the things that we love to do. And, you know, this just kind of reprioritizes everything. And you realize how lucky we all are to be able to get to do the things that we love to do. And I just hope we get that opportunity eventually. And when that time comes, we got to be ready for it.
Here. I mean, that's
you play golf. You've been able to play any golf out there?
We can't do anything out here right now. But I'm so bored right now that I've ordered. I got in a little bit of trouble because it was a little bit more expensive than we thought it was going to be. I bought, and I'm excited, but it's supposed to come anytime from Friday to Wednesday. So I'm going to be sitting out front waiting for it. But I bought a floating green for my pool, and it's got a tee mat, and so I can sit. I've already envisioned all these. I'm going to make up like a little 9-hole chipping course in my backyard. I'm just going to move this mat around and chip to the green, floating in the pool, and be chipping on this green. So I'm pretty excited for that. That's all I got to look forward to right now. I mean, I've restarted my PlayStation. I've won 3 Super Bowls in Madden. I mean, I got all kinds of things going on around here.
Hey, when you get that green set up, and you promise you got to send us a video and send it to me, and I'll post that. But I got to see that. That would be awesome.
I will. It's supposed to arrive, something like I said, Friday to Wednesday. The one thing I'm a little worried about is it says, you know, 20 to 40 minutes of assembly time. So that could be a little bit of a struggle. But once we get that thing up and running, I think we'll have
that's 4 to 6 hours. That's 4 to 6 hours to you and me.
Yeah, probably.
I can see Michael sitting out on the curb waiting for the UPS guy or whoever's coming to bring that to him. Just waiting.
Guaranteed. Why wouldn't you be? What else you got to do?
Mike, we all got nothing but time right now. I mean, we got nothing but time.
Michael, man, I cannot thank you.
Hey, have you guys gotten into these virtual happy hours?
No, I haven't even heard of that one.
Oh, it's a great way to connect with friends. It's just, you know, everybody's been to a happy hour, right?
Yep.
Where you just, you know, you call up a couple friends on that FaceTime or that Zoom stuff. And like we have, my wife and I have one with some old high school friends every Thursday. I think it's 4:00 our time, 7:00 Eastern time. And we got 2 chairs and we sit out. And we all FaceTime in where you see each other and you sit there and you just have a virtual happy hour.
You know, that's stuff that wouldn't be happening, obviously, if we weren't in this case. There are conversations that are being had, though, that wouldn't happen otherwise. So there is some good coming out of this, and you just pointed out one of those things. That's a great deal.
We just make up stupid stuff and try to occupy your time. So, but it's been a good way to kind of reconnect, and you just sit there and you kind of do what you do at any other happy hour. You sit there and complain about what went on in your last week. We all complain about how hard elementary school is these days compared to when it was when we were in that age. How busy is going to be the next week, right?
Do you and your wife take a shower and get dressed up, and she put makeup on and stuff for one of these things? Do people?
The whole makeup, the whole like undergarments, all that stuff's kind of gone from the wayside. I wear a t-shirt and sweatpants, and I think
I haven't had underwear on in 2 weeks.
T-shirt and shorts. I bought me a pair of old man slippers. I'm not real proud of, but we got all this tile and stuff in this floor. My feet kept getting cold, and so I bought these old man slippers. So I'm standing in a t-shirt and shorts and a pair of slippers that makes me look like I'm 72 years old, and I'm having the time of my life out here. I'm just trying to make something work.
Oh man, I cannot thank you enough for joining us. You should see Todd Leary. He's normally got you see those pictures from his playing days. He's got that burr cut. Well, now he looks like he's got an afro from the 70s. His hair's going crazy.
I mean, I haven't had hair this long. I don't think I've ever had hair like this before. But now, like, I'm riding it to the end. Like, as long as this Corona thing goes, I am not cutting this thing. I see people doing the home videos and having people cut their hair for them. Like, nope, I'm riding it to the end.
I don't have that problem. But I got me a pretty solid Corona beard going. I think by the end of this whole quarantine, I'm gonna have me a little James Harden going.
Oh man, yeah, Michael, man, I cannot thank you enough. You're always so gracious with your time, and we cannot thank you enough. We appreciate you. We'll be checking back in with you later on, I'm sure, to see how things are going. But man, I'm glad to hear it.
Well, yeah. I mean, let me check my schedule, guys, but it looks like it's pretty open. So anytime you want to do this, let's do it.
If you can get yourself away from the premieres and you and Jennifer Aniston are done hanging out, we'll see if we can catch back up with you.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, maybe we can FaceTime and we can just virtually play this little golf game. I'm excited about.
Let me know ahead of time so I can at least shower and put some underwear on, because I haven't had underwear on in 2 weeks.
Oh man! Well, Michael, enjoy waiting for the floating green. I hope it comes today.
Man, I'm so excited. I'm be. If you don't send a picture of that, I'm gonna be pissed because I want to see this thing.
He's giving us something to be excited for.
I'm excited for Michael Lewis receiving a floating putting green. This is awesome. I can't wait.
All right, boys.
Have a great one, Michael. There's the great Michael Lewis, former Hoosier, joining us for now. UCLA assistant coach out there on the West Coast. Fun times. Well, at least he's having fun with it, man. That's I can't wait till the green comes in. I'm looking forward to that.
Michael's one of those guys that, that I wish I'd had the opportunity to play with. There's certain guys that you just wish you'd play. Dane Fife's another one. Coverdale's another one. Those are guys you wish you'd had an opportunity to play with. And Michael was always one of those guys. I mean, I think he gets a lot of credit / flack for the picture or video or whatever of him and Coach Knight kind of screaming at each other.
That was great.
You know what? That was more common than people might guess. I mean, Michael was just one of the people, like, he didn't care. Like, when he believed in it, it was the way it was. And it's just a good dude. Like, I always enjoyed him.
He is He's one of my absolute favorite. He is one of the greatest. We got a couple texts into the show. One from Tim that said, thanks, Todd, for putting that image in his mind about the underwear. Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Ryan up in Michigan says, let's see, it's interesting because he shoots basket right-handed and golf's left-handed. We were talking about that earlier. So.
Yeah. So he does the opposite?
Yeah.
He plays golf left-handed and shoots baskets right-handed?
Yeah, that'd be tough, man.
That's badass. I don't know anybody else that does that.
It makes him unique. Hey, we got another great show in the books. Appreciate it. Coming up on Friday, Sage Steele is going to join us. So looking forward to talking to Sage. I hadn't seen her since she was back when Bob Knight returned. So that's been back when was that? Just January?
February?
I can't even remember.
February. It was in February.
Everything seems like such a long time ago, but we appreciate everybody joining us today. Taylor Lehman from thehoosier.com. Make sure you go to thehoosier.com, get signed up, Rivals. Great coverage there. And we'll be back to do it all again tomorrow. Todd's I got to hurry to get him off here. He's got a tea time there.
Got to put some underwear on. Get out of here.
Y'all have a great one for Todd and Jake. I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.